Well, thank God we have Representative Raj Krishnamoorthi of the great state of Illinois with us, who was there, of course. Good morning, Representative.
Hey, good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning. I don't think I've seen a hearing like this where his whole response seemed to just be, "Nuh-uh, no." And things we all know are provably true, right?
Exactly. I mean, I think that there was a tremendous disconnect between what he said and what's reality. And I was just thinking, what is going on here? And then the light bulb came on for a second, which was the guy is like focused on, for instance, getting the trucks and the vehicles out the door at a certain time, and he says that's quote-unquote on-time delivery, but that doesn't translate into your mail being delivered
empty.
On time.
The trucks are empty.
They're empty, yeah. Tractor trailer trucks are leaving quote-unquote on time with no mail in them.
We saw this on TV. Thank God for cameras, right, Representative?
Yeah, exactly.
WTVF found an empty truck was driving from Tennessee to Illinois. As he was testifying, the postal employee said trucks leave empty. They leave completely empty. We pay a truck to travel to Memphis, a 53-foot truck with no mail in it.
Exactly.
Right. DeJoy's new policy won't allow trucks to hold for even 5 minutes to be filled with mail. There's express mail and priority mail left sitting on the dock.
That is exactly right. It's criminal to me that priority express first-class mail is sitting on the docks and workroom floors. Some of it contains medication. Some of it contains items that will spoil if they don't make it to their destination in time. And so this is serious stuff. I don't think we should minimize or allow the other side to minimize the stakes. In some cases, it means life and death. I had a veteran. So we've had 1,850 calls and letters come in and pieces of correspondence complaining about tremendous delays in medication, parcels, payments, you name it. And this one veteran called in. He had just had an organ transplant, and he's saying, where are my life-saving post-operative medications? So this is life and death. And
Representative, I can hear all the right-wing trolls that are listening now. They're probably on my social media going, he just said that he gets letters about the complaints about the letters not coming. How does he get the letters?
Well, those are the letters that have arrived. Imagine what's in the backlog. I'm just waiting for a truckload to dump more correspondence on me 2 weeks later. But this is exactly the type of attitude that's going to lead to catastrophe. Further catastrophe for my constituents and others.
Joe, and Representative, we all know my mom's 97. She's just been declared legally blind. She's got some vision in one eye. Her glaucoma drops are the only thing that slows it down, so she can see some sort of light and something. I mean, you're right that we don't need a news story about it. We all know. My friend right next to me here has a small candle business. Everybody knows that has a small business. Everybody knows the mail's been disrupted.
That's exactly right. It's just like the pandemic response in general. The president and others can try to spin it, but it's hard to spin a coronavirus, and it's hard to spin delivery delays because people experience it in their real lives. And I think that the other side, of course, tried to convince people otherwise, but my constituents and others, they're not going to have it.
Yeah. Well, and you tweeted, delaying the changes until after the election doesn't solve the issue at hand. Sorting machines are already offline. Mail is already piling up on post office floors. Americans can't get their medication, and DeJoy plans to make matters worse in November. And he just keeps repeating, well, first of all, is the Postal Service being run by elves, Representative? Because he says he's not aware of any of these changes and he didn't order them.
Either that, but it's certainly being run by a man who is on the board of two Republican super PACs, namely Mike Duncan. He's the chair. I was shocked. I was floored when I learned that this gentleman, who was appointed by President Trump in August 2018, actually sits on the board of American Crossroads, as well as the Senate Leadership Fund. That's Mitch McConnell's super PAC. And at the same time, he is running the USPS.
Well, and guess what his specialty was before this? You'll never guess. Voter suppression. I mean, seriously. He undertook, when he was steering the Republican Party, right, he undertook some of the most brazen voter suppression schemes. He had previously served as general counsel and chair of the RNC. He oversaw an unprecedented escalation of voter disenfranchisement efforts in swing states. Specifically, he was party's officials challenged the eligibility of 77,000 voters when he was in charge. As it happens, one of the party's favorite tactics relied on the U.S. mail. In 2004, Republicans in Ohio, Florida, and Pennsylvania sent thousands of non-forwardable letters and postcards to select voters, particularly minority voters, and used the mail returned as undeliverable to come up with voter registration challenge lists. I mean,
my goodness.
It's okay. Go ahead.
He yesterday, I basically confronted him with some of these quotations, some of the most outrageous quotations from his correspondence to supporters in the past, and he basically, said, "I have no knowledge of this. I disavow it," and I think that it was really a strange performance. But the strangest moment of all was when I showed him a picture of his USPS website. This is his official government biography on the USPS. You should go on. Maybe they took it down overnight, but he brags in his official government biography that he was the RNC chairman. He raised the most money and grew the donor base to the most number of donors in history. And that's on his official government bio. So this is why I'm so concerned about the USPS, because I think the lines have blurred between the Postal Service and politics. And as you know, they never mix. But here they are blurred, and in his activities is kind of that dangerous brew that we've feared that's led to the situation we have at hand.
And you pointed out on Twitter, Louis DeJoy did not make the initial cut of 53 finalists presented to the board. I mean, talk about that he was inserted because he's a crony and because he'll, take the president's marching orders. And I guess, for instance, you also tweeted, Representative, about delivering for America Act that you voted to pass reverses the changes implemented by the postmaster, includes $25 billion for relief for the Postal Service, requires the Postal Service to treat all election mail as first-class mail. I'm sure your frustration and ours is what's going to happen.
Yes.
Mitch won't take it up. President won't sign it. Like, how do we protect our elections and our post office, Representative? What do we do?
So this is what I'd like all of your listeners to do, if possible, which is you got to contact your representative and your senator in your state, whether it's a purple state or a red state. I think most of your blue state representatives are probably on the same page and probably voted for the Delivering for America Act. Here is the most important element in that act, which is returning to service standards that existed before the pandemic. So whatever Louis DeJoy says about, I'm going to suspend any further changes, he's not willing to commit to those service standards. Just as an example, first-class mail, it needs to be delivered between 1 and 2 days.
Right.
Okay? He's not willing to commit to that. And not committing to that is completely unacceptable because, as you know, the election is coming up.
Yeah.
And people rely on, wanting to get they have in their mind what first-class mail delivery looks like getting to the local election authority, and they want to be able to make sure they send it in time. So they wait till a few 3, 4, 5 days before the election to send it. And now he's saying send it 7 or 8 days, get your ballots out in much ahead of time, and that's not really fair because, as you know, lots of things happen in those last 2 weeks, and people want to be able to cast their ballot with full information.
Yeah, well, Representative, I mean, I guess we can't say it enough, right? Check and recheck your registration. Vote.org is a good resource. Vote early if you can. I mean, get your ballot as soon as you can. Vote in person. Try to vote safely. Vote, by mail, but as soon as you can, right? We just have to fight this on every front.
That's exactly right, and I think that now we know at least what's partially going on at the USPS. So given that information, let's act accordingly. So let's apply for the absentee ballot right now, the vote by mail right now, and then once you get your ballot, assuming you've made your decision, which I think in a lot of your listeners' case they have, send that ballot in right away at the earliest opportunity.
Yeah, and do not let him achieve his purpose, which is to suppress the vote or make you scared to vote or think your vote is not going to count. Make it piss you off, make it quadruple your desire to vote, right?
So that's exactly right, Stephanie. I just say one last thing, which is he he wants desperately to, basically claim that there was voter fraud on election night. Even if he's behind on election night to his opponent Joe Biden, he wants to be able to say in the days after that there was voter fraud and mail-in voting was the reason. So we got to avoid giving him any reasons.
Oh, he said it. Wait, let's.
Ammunition.
I hate to do this to you because you know I love you, but hang on here.
Right.
Yeah.
What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election.
Right.
They're using COVID to defraud the American people, all of our people, of a fair and free election.
Wow. I mean, the gaslighting is just insane, right? And in case after case, there is zero evidence of voter fraud. I keep saying, Representative, it's safer out here in California. I mean, when they send me, saying you're going to get your ballot, they have my name, my address, they have my driver's license number, my social security number, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's
Yes, and even Republican secretaries of state who are in, states that use vote by mail extensively. I think that's the case in state of Washington and Oregon and so forth. They vouch for it. And anyway, I think that this is so important, and we have to keep putting the pressure on the post office, but at the same time, get your vote by mail in ASAP.
Yeah. Our listeners in Illinois were very excited you were here this morning.
That's right.
We thank you as always.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm excited, too, and thank you for having me, and thank you for your attention to this issue.
You too. Thanks so much, Representative. Talk to you soon.
Yes, ma'am.